I find that it's important to have a chat about this to do with our consciousness design. I am always talking about it, so it would seem that I'm going to open up a chat on the third eye consciousness, so the indigo. The indigo and white light, because as you're getting up to the violet and the white light of the crown chakra, you're engaging the higher realms. Because if you've done the work to clear out and balance your life as you go with these chakras, then you're going to have this flow. And so because the chakras come online more, like we have them all obviously, but as we grow into the being, the human light being form, they're going to come online more for the consciousness use, and because of the age of the human as well, so you use more wisdom and clarity and seeing through your experience in this lifetime and whatever else has come online to do with your soul from other lifetimes for this path. So this is all relevant in how we balance and the use of it at any time. But by the time, so I'm 49, so I'm at the crown chakra coming online more and more. Anyone around this age group. So this is why you see humans who have got through things and they're not holding on to things in the other consciousness through the years. They will easily be able to share some wisdom. They will have, the ego in check. It won't be like I'm trying to gain something from my ego perspective, like I am this as a human. It's more, I'm various things as a human as I progress through life, and I have clear seeing of some things as a soul that I can easily share without needing to have an image appraisal or anything like that. It's more like you just grow contenter with less image, permission, or appraisal. You're not looking to be validated, or you're not looking for validation in so that's what will happen unless you are looking for validation or to be validated, like it just becomes a part of your pattern. You won't have so much clear seeing because that's still like ego. You'll be caught up in whatever human games are being played to give yourself or give others permission to be themselves, So it's a very honest consciousness journey to be able to have those good wisdom opening qualities where we've looked at our ego selves and we don't think that it's power, because it's not. It can only take your soul so far. It can only take it in the image perspective of things. The ego, that's pretty much what it does. It enables you to be your spiritual self so far, but then it's the soul that shines through. So, you progress. You don't thrive on sort of egoic manipulation or anything like that. That's how you progress to get to clear seeing, clear feeling, and clear knowing. Because you got these in check and sort of in order with yourself. You know yourself as you progress through life. You have a strengthening system happening within, and you're not mucking around in silly games that are like of a younger perspective, as though you're still just progressing. You check yourself. So that's why it's good to check in regularly with yourself as to why you act to do something. Because if you don't progress up here and start thinking more about what your power is doing down here, then you don't progress into this clarity. You you will still act out motive reasons to get something, as you know, to do with old blocks, old energy that really doesn't allow an expansion of clear seeing, clear feeling, clear knowing that who you are is in check, in balance. So now that I've explained that, it was because how important it is in this progression to keep being able to see more for yourself. Because, you know, with the energy of the planet that we were born into, that we still know is draining, the 3D heaviness, conforming, draining, ridiculous overpowerment of heaviness on people to be a certain way, knowingly that it doesn't really work for the heart consciousness on the planet, or for the freedom of people becoming all of this consciousness and using it. It's been, you know, held down. So for various reasons and various not very healthy perspectives held onto to try and keep groups, populations, civilizations down, and for some to, silly little story that is, because there's not any of us that are sent to earth to rise above others and more and look down upon others. So in the progression of realizing that we are not that which we have been taught a lot to be or do, we're now being supported through the solar plexus, the heart, stand up, use your voice, use your true expression, and we're all supporting each other in this. This is going to help us, with the help of light, to see clearer, things to come online more clearer, and probably even close the gap, I would say, of what I was saying before, that at 49, I'm at the 7th chakra, the crown chakra, because it's approximately 7 to 8 years before this consciousness would, in the human growth, would come online for use. But I can see as we get more creative in the truth that it does become more like a portal, because these are like little portals of our soul, but it will just become more of like a portal. So it won't necessarily be an age-related thing. It will be, there's less denser energy, and that means a lot to whether the light human consciousness development and progression can just be allowed, rather than us contemplate stuff that really is not stuff we need to contemplate. You know, that's created all the denser and denser beliefs of restriction, constriction, you know, all this that creates us sort of either sticking together against others or constricting our thoughts, our mentality, our emotional energy towards each other, and just so yeah, it's just a reminder that it's really important at that consciousness level of the third eye that you have kept an eye on whether your expression has been allowed, you're allowing it, or what do you actually give your power of choice over to? Because once you check in and say, are these visions I hold for myself? Or what is a vision? I'm going to take the time out that I hold for myself. And it only has to be a moment in that time you've taken out where you've connected with nature or something, and you're just like, you get a flash of inspiration that's like, yeah, I'd really like to do that, or I'd really like to take that to the next level or take it on, or I'd really like to find a connection for that. So yeah, that there is what we'll either hold on to and give energy to. So belief, some energy focus, some solar plexus, allowing it to come through the heart and expression into manifestation. So yeah. So if you do have a vision and you're not bringing it into form, you need to check where your power is actually going, what you're actually doing with it, and is it aligning in support? Because if it's a vision that occurs, and this reminds me of something I heard this morning as well with Sonia Chiquette's message, that to make a list of heart's true desires that you've wanted to do but you put off. It's this kind of thing. That if you support those visions a little bit, when you get them with action, with some action to them, then you're going to have that power there, which is bright, and you're going to give it some of your vibrancy. If you give it some of your vibrancy, then you don't have doubt in the way. If you don't give it some vibrancy, then you've got something going on in your solar plexus energy, either to do with any kind of restriction or constriction. Telling yourself you can't do it, you're not allowed to do it, it wouldn't be seen as right to do it, I just can't let myself do it, just anything like this, then that's literally solar plexus soul crushing. It just is, because we've been doing it for a long time, but we haven't actually acknowledged that these things truly are important, because we've carried on with the conformity and mental way of life is this, things are set in place like this, and the majority are, they're not going to change. Who's going to change them? Why do we do the things we do? This could never change. Things like this, but that's because we've been in that denser energy where it's grown on the planet and secretly wanted that, because then we're like, nearly like we're possessed by by our own systems that we agree to. So at the end of the week, we get paid, we can find some enjoyment there, and this is the way it's going. It has to stay this way. And then, you know, newborns, teenage, adult, this is the conformity, rather than let's support creativity. Let's highlight things in these new souls that aren't about just conforming. Look at the creative desires in these people or children or teenagers having trouble. Let's focus on like some different creative desires, because maybe they're not meant to fit a system, and the mentality supporting this system is having a hard time as well, because it's not actually supporting soul expansion and growth. So, and this is why mental health would be a part of this as well. Because we're not just mental, we're not just thinkers. And we don't just have emotions for like the odd occasion of a bit of joy, or the odd occasion of like when a baby is born, or we have a celebration, or at the end of the week. We're emotional feeling beings for light travel reasons. So like sharing our light, that which you cannot hold, like it's not physical, but at the heart chakra and the solar plexus, and your expression can have more live time rather than mental conform. You see how the mental conform structure keeps us in place, but the freedom of, hang on, what if we supported some things a little differently? What if we weren't so hard on each other and created such dense structures that everyone has to truly, when we sit back and take a look at, over conform? You know, what about if we did, and this sounds abrupt, but tear down some of the things that we've held in place, that we are conforming with a certain societal standard, but yet so much at ground level is getting missed. And so we have like this standard in place that we think is what, say, mid-class society and above expect of us. And if we just keep that in place, that is our living mental conformity, and we actually keep it there. But right, the heart energy is meant to be that midway place. If you're going to hang out in any kind of energy field, it's the heart field, midway between us from the solar plexus, right? Because like I'm blending all this dimensional stuff together in this moment, because we do upkeep like a look for society, a maintenance for society. And if we're too much in our heads over this, we're actually missing the silent power of what we can truly give. So like, for instance, you're standing in front of two people, and would I look at it that way? No, so you got one person, right? But you got two views looking at this one person. And let's just say, for instance, because I have a connection with some of the most vulnerable, being like homeless people who have found their way out to living actually, you know, without roof. One person can give them a hug, you know, if they're not too dirty or whatnot. Sometimes, you know, they've got to have a shower or something first. But what I'm saying is, one person could greet that person with the heart, right? Talk to them, be nice to them, whatever, or give them a hug, if so. And then the other is like, well, we uphold this certain society and, you know, there's nowhere in the world. I'm even thinking of some kind of loving reality. So you can't hold this, it's something you give. I'm not even thinking of it. That might be on next week's agenda, maybe for next year sometime. Probably not as we loop around and just make sure all of society is fine. Know what I'm saying? So anyway, we've been in our heads a lot to do with the energy, to do with conforming, to do with being appraised by society, but yet it skips a lot of groundwork of real human society. And it leaves a lot of gaps for that aren't filled with human nature, and we all feel that, but we just kind of keep going with the gaps in human nature and conform to society. So, you know, you put a magnifying glass or magnifying mirrors through all of this to narrow down and take a look at some things and pull it apart. Because essentially it's how we use our consciousness with balanced light travel between us, light perspective between us. This isn't like a fantasy, you know, it's how we actually consider life in a different manner. And it's just like a few strings need to be pulled from this upkeep, right? So it drops out, and in its place is the real. Like, so for instance, you know, this is just a visual, so this is also my third eye and how I speak sometimes, that when you're trying to get across a bigger view, because this is what your soul can do, you describe things in a visual manner. And so it is an upkeep, it is energy. You can pull out a few of these old frickin' strings we've had, like maintaining them, which can be looked at as a bit of a ridiculous frickin' nature, okay? It is an upkeep of society, like this is what we should do. Yeah. Is there any flexibility like a bamboo, or is it just like a steel post and leave it in? Because we're not steel posts. And so you pull the strings out, you've got space, somewhat a visual of space, where you get a nice big new, say, palm tree, or of the family of the palm trees, and you plonk it in. New soil, new earth, some new growth, flexibly. And this is heart foundational speak in balance, taking a look at our whole consciousness. So, you know, you can see how balancing and knowing our human consciousness design, how we have been working in the flow with it, or treating ourselves like steel post plumped in the ground, and you can only do this. Like, it goes to a certain level. Might go up to like the solar plexus, so the abdomen between the ribs. But yeah, we're tall growing trees. We are of light essence, supported in a light evolution. We need to learn more about our consciousness design, how we're using that, and this will create that growth flow of, you can have visions if you want. You can support visions if you want. You can empower yourself with the solar plexus if you want. This light is the same light in the sky. Same light that's helping the planet, same light we are one with. Only that helps keep the solar system and us a part of that family in its growth resource capacity. And we are little solar systems. Describe it how you like, but operating in the same way with growth mechanisms. Light. So we can get clearer and clearer in this consciousness. We can stand up for ourselves. We can share with one another, and we can clear out a lot of the old baggage. And that's what we're here for. And that's what we're here for at this time. So you better believe it, sisters and brothers, that we can have a great time. And we are changing the world in this way. Pretty awesome. So just take a breath. See if there's anything else to elaborate a little of. See if we can finish at the half-hour mark. Yeah, it's pretty much to get crystal clear on these things, for these feelings, enable the flow. If you're dragging down your feelings, there will be a block of the flow. Because you are a feeling being. This is what consciousness is. And feeling happens quicker than we know with inspired thought, drop in, felt. And a lot of the time we can feel it in excitement around the belly button region, because it's trying to stimulate new growth of our foundational chakra, like seeds of creation there, like for each of our souls to come online. But if we're not supporting it in our balance of using all of our consciousness. So I think I've just chatted recently about the heart chakra, about the importance of this central balance. And so in recognition right now that we are feeling beings, just notice or do a little bit of intuitive research, intuition research, to learn more about your unique receiving, because we're all intuitive. Just to notice when you do, to start to notice the subtlety of receiving a feeling but letting it fall by the wayside, perhaps just because of the conformity or needing permission, validation, appraisal, that you could be something different if you want, because of the conformity nature of the energy of the planet. In any ways, in relationships, in jobs, in expectations. So you're a feeling being. You need these feelings to be loved by you, because if you don't let your inspiration grow into something at the heart field and the expression, it's not going to happen. Okay? And the solar plexus, us in these light bodies, these vehicles, these vessels, we need to be able to shine like the light, the sun. So it's just really important if you want to move with the times, that noticing whether you let yourself break free like from a seed and let yourself come online. That would be my drop in inspiration that I feel could go on and on in this chat, because my guides, higher guides, guidance team, and sometimes plural connections, teams, oh gosh, they could have an endless inspirational assistance chat with anyone and everyone about letting yourself come online. That it is utmost important for your growth at this time. And truly, if you can get a any kind of symbolism like this that has the colors, and get to know any reminders that can trigger you to, you know, if you sit down and you're having some energy spiritual timeout, you know, to sit with your field, your spirit, however you're feeling, just take a little glance at your, like, this is my strip to remind me of our consciousness light. To see how you're feeling and remind yourself of these levels, and to check in and how you can bring balance. Because you want to grow into letting the heart field grow. You don't want your green heart field to feel like it's held down, and then with your two eyes you carry on in life and you're unhappy. You look around, everything seems to be going on, etc., but you feel unhappy. So there is this internal world concept that we need to take into account that's very real. And so I'll just finish, I think. I always say that, but I just get inspired to keep speaking. I like, sometimes when I'm on a walk and it's a perfect day, the red is the earth. You know, we are of the earth while we're here. We have the bodies and there's various things. The orange is our creativity. This is also a part of who we are while we're here for this path, our sacred paths. It wants to rise up and come in line in manifestation. The sun is who we are at our abdomen, and it shines on us all the time. We're gifted, you know, light and seeing color and growth to the heart. You see green majority everywhere. Even if you're walking through a city, there'll be some form of green. Blue is the sky. We're gifted in seeing in color. Indigo, our night sky and the stars. And violet too. Violet and white light. So just like a powerful blend of indigo and white light, creating that violet. Eternal flame light. So it's an easy reminder is what I'm trying to say. You know, we are one with this energy. So you just lightly check in with yourself and bring yourself back to center in, you know, in conscience, because conscience is going to keep you in balance. Like, everyone is here doing the same kind of learning journey in their own soul's way. Am I, you know, keeping myself in check and not, you know, am I checking in and doing my work to raise a conscience and conscious society? Like, because I'm part of it. And never doubt how much effect you have by keeping yourself conscious in conscience. You know, how you treat others is what you're going to attract energetically. So, and we need to learn that nothing is actually hidden. We're energy, so you can't hide energy. You can't box it. You can't like bury it. So nothing is actually hidden. So what you resonate and what you're conscious of with your conscience is in motion. This is the honesty of rising consciousness. And if you're not honest, then it won't rise in consciousness, because you're trying to work against the universal law system of energy. You can't say, you know, an apple is an orange, when like you just can't change these things. So it is what it is, and you work with it. And that's a good thing, because you want to eat an apple and you want to eat an orange, and you don't want to try and trick that it's one or the other. You just want to, you know. Anyway, something like that. God bless everyone. I'm going to leave it there. I feel that is complete. Bye for now.